Hi, Rosie here from lifeisshortmagazine.com. A woman's life used to be split into three parts: the maiden, the mother and the old melancholy woman. But there's a new spoke in the wheel that intercepts stage 3 and 4, and for a lot of women this new stage is turning out to be the most inspiring and profitable part of their lives. They have done the fun, frivolous bit of being young, being reckless, and they don't want to go back there. They've done the bit of finding a career and a partner. They've done the child rearing, career development, bill paying, and faced the stuff life threw at them: tragedy, reality, illness, ups and downs, and have come through the other side, a bit bruised but not beaten. And just when the bruises of life are healing and things have got better and are getting easier, the next stage would kick in. This used to be seen as a lonely time: the kids leaving the nest, being widowed or divorced, parents passing away. It was a time that a woman would start thinking about sitting by the window and living for the days that the grandchildren would be brought to visit, or reading the death notices in the paper and wondering what would be written about them. But this final spoke of the wheel of life has been intercepted with a whole new stage that women now look forward to rather than dread. Thanks to a lifetime of better diet. I mean, think about it. Our parents were brought up on ration books and old cures, which weren't always the best. But better education and better healthcare and better lifestyle in general. The goalposts for being physically past it or unable have moved by about 20 or 30 years. Women in their 50s and 60s are now travelling solo more than ever and starting indie-style online businesses, passing on the wisdom that they have learnt through one or more of their life experiences to help steer women through their life path. The respect for the older, wiser woman is back. Earlier today, I spoke to Debbie Lang from Adelaide, Australia. Debbie is a divorced mum of 2, and when her kids grew up and moved out, she cared for her parents in their home, and then when they passed on, she sold up her home and started to travel. She has been to the USA, Sierra Leone, Europe, South Africa, and today I'm chatting with her where she is in Cambodia via Skype. She started an online mentoring business to help women find and follow their intuitive body wisdom, to help them find their way again and build their self-confidence, and to live the life of their dreams after life knocks. So let's pop over to Cambodia and have a chat with Debbie.
Yes, I'm in Cambodia and I'm having the most amazing time.
Fabulous.
Because I'm doing one of my bucket lists, which is to be with my son, who has been here for 2 years, and so I'm here working, swimming, still writing, for coaching, still being interviewed, and it's life is good. And
fabulous.
Yes, life is short, and it has to be grabbed and just absolutely lived. And I am, and it's just fabulous. So I'm really great. It's really great to.
Brilliant. Okay, Debbie, can you give me a little bit of our listeners some information about your background?
Sure. Yeah, so I started out life as a teacher, and then I really loved working with adults, so I did staff development of teachers. So my whole career has been focused on developing people's potential. I really wanted to go out into the world, so I did business degrees and master's degrees, and I ended up becoming a management consultant in my own freelance business. I had fantastic opportunities nationally and internationally, and my husband was successful. He was a CEO, and everything looked great. Like, wow, both got fabulous jobs, great house, kids going to good schools, all the rest of it, and then things fell apart, as they do. So we were a little bit like ships in the night, and so we had a really amicable divorce. But what I realised was that, I got into working for myself so that I could be around for my kids. And yet, getting on that roller coaster of work and then keeping up with it, it's kind of like you just forgot what was really important and you forgot to connect. so we would just be, you know, he was busy, I was busy, and we just got really disconnected from one another, you know, which is tragic. But, you know, I'm still a friend with him. I get on really well with him and his new wife, and the kids get on really well with him and with me. And so we've all made the most of it anyway, which is fabulous. But however, what I realised was that whilst work is important, and I used to say family was important, but I wasn't actually living the family part properly. You know, I just got too taken over by work. And so then I did a bit of a flip actually, because then it was like, okay, I really need to take a bit of time out. I didn't realise how stressed I was. And then I had, my kids were still adolescents, they still needed looking after. And then all of a sudden, when you're a single person, it's like there's so much more to do in terms of looking after kids as a single person, even if they're going between two families. And then in terms of running your own business as a single person, and then without you don't recognise the support of a partner. Like, until you don't have it, you don't actually realise what's there, which I think is really sad. So there were lots of things that I didn't realise were in my marriage that until after it was over. I think in my era, and I'll be brave and say, yes, I'm 58 and loving life and feeling like a 20-year-old, feeling like starting again, and it's just fabulous.
So what happened then? I mean, I didn't actually realise you were 58. You you're looking fabulous, and you completely changed your life. Okay, so you went through your divorce and you started your own business, and you had all the hassles of bringing up teenagers and everything as a single mom then, but you then had a trigger to actually change it when your kids got a bit older. What actually triggered that change, and what did you actually do?
Well, when my kids were older and they'd left home, I then found, as women will find, that then parents need helping. So I then became quite a major care provider for my parents, and they wanted to die at home, and I wanted to honour that. And so it was funny where I actually did this sort of switch from being so focused on business to then being really focused on nurturing. My kids were growing up, but then I spent time nurturing my parents. And so my business actually was the part then that fell away, because I just could not do that at the same time. But anyway, so Mum and Dad passed away, and then I found I was single. I did have a de facto relationship too, but that ended around about the same time as my mother passed away. And so then I really found, for the first time, I am single. My parents went away. My kids have grown up. I had sold my house because I was looking after my mum in her house. And it was like, oh, what am I going to do? Like, it was just like leaving home for the second time again with a blank sheet of paper, a blank canvas. I could live anywhere in the world. I could create any new business. I could do anything. I could be anywhere. So within a month, which in hindsight was probably a little hasty, but within a month of Mum passing, my house was all packed up, and I took myself off travelling, which in fact, it was funny because when I was 20, that's what I wanted to. I had a ticket to London, and I was ready to do what Australians do, which is travel around Europe. But in fact, my husband wanted to marry me. And so at that time, I cashed in my ticket and I got married instead. So this time I said, no, I am going to really do that trip that I never had. And so I took myself off. I had 3 months in the States. I had 7 months travelling through West Africa and Europe. I did volunteering. My youngest son has an NGO in Sierra Leone, so I volunteered for his organisation, which I will mention. It's called One Girl, and we help raise funds to send girls to school in Sierra Leone. And so I really established like a bucket list of things that, like, if I was to pass away tomorrow, what is it that I would really spend my time on? And it was really to spend real quality time, and not just talking quality, but really like living with my son for 5 weeks in Sierra Leone and seeing what he does there and being a part of that was just such a privilege. And now to spend another month with my other son, who's been in Cambodia for 2 years, which it's just so, it's not just spending the night having dinner, like living with each other again as young adults, and that has been fantastic. And I also decided I really wanted to connect with my brother and sister, because as you grow up, your parents pass away, sometimes you just, even siblings you don't spend a lot of time with. So with my brother and sister and I, we met up in Europe, had a fantastic time. I really got to know them again now as we've aged in a whole different new way. And at the same time, I had been writing and focusing on, well, what would my new business be for this part of my life? Because I felt like I had so much experience from my work, and I also took myself, I did lots of more training, in the States. I've studied on a psychospiritual practice and equine facilitated learning, which is coaching with horses, and now I've developed my own practice, which is what I call intuitive body wisdom. And so what I used to do, facilitation with people face to face, now in this online world, I want to be able to give that to more people. So now I can write books, write e-courses, be available like this on Skype, and so that's the business I'm now developing, and I feel it's my business for the next 20 years. Like, I don't feel there's an end point.
Yeah, that's fabulous. So basically, instead of facing tragedy with a negative response, like your parents dying, you divorced, you've empty nest syndrome, you decide to sell your house. I mean, with all these things, people could switch to a negative and could have actually changed, looking at it negatively and got depressed and sat back and sort of going, my life is over. But instead, you packed up everything and said, right, what did I want to do in my 20s? Feck it, I'm older, wiser now, I'm going to do it now and do it with more style. I bet you weren't staying in hostels.
Well, you would be surprised. I have stayed in a whole range, and in fact, even today, like right now in Cambodia, I'm with my son in a very, very modest place right on the beach in a bungalow, and it's like camping. But, and actually, even my son said to me, Mum, I don't know too many of my friends' mums who would actually do this. Literally. Getting up in the morning and having a swim, and then you have a cold shower with water that's actually quite brown, and I'll also use the water out of my drink bottle to actually rinse off with, so that I've actually got clean water to rinse myself off with, and cleaning the teeth out on the sand because I'd rather actually be like camping than actually, the bathroom's actually not all that wonderful. But it's just... just because you get older doesn't mean that you can't, get your feet on the soil and get your feet on the sand and just really immerse yourself into life. There's just so much to live. I mean, I have travelled so much, but there are still so many more people to meet. I mean, today, after my swim, I then sat down and I'm talking to this amazing German tourist, and we had a fantastic conversation about the world, the economy, the environment, people, relationships. Then the next minute I'm talking to someone from France, and then I'm writing a blog or another article for another newsletter, and then I had another swim, and then I had a shower and got ready for this interview. So, like, every moment is basically something new, interesting. Life is short, and it really is to be lived. It really is. I love the name of your magazine. Yeah,
Thank you.
Really is. So, yes.
I mean, what you're doing is fabulous, and as I say, you're doing 5-star. You don't have to do 5-star hotel sort of stuff. You can still go and rough it and live on the beach and go for your swim. And, you know, as I say, women can do that now, and you're not relying on, you know, a male figure to actually fund it or to help you or to arrange it. You know, you're doing it yourself. And, you know, it's available to so many women out there, and so many women are doing it and doing what you're doing as well, which is using their wisdom to actually of past experiences to actually help people now. And that's actually what your website is about as well, or what your business is. So would you just tell us a little bit more about Intuitive Body Wisdom? I'll actually post your website and that on Life is Short as well. So just tell us, so that people can go over there, but just tell us a little bit about it and what you're helping women do through your website.
Yeah, well, I am helping a lot of women, actually. It's interesting that women are drawn to me. There seem to be quite a young group around the 30 mark, and then there do seem to be women also around the 50-year mark. So around 30, often women they thought they would go out, they'd get their careers, they'd be in relationships, they'd be married by now, whatever, but what they actually find is often they are divorced or not married by then. The career isn't what they thought it would be, and so they're having a big stock take. So it kind of happens at 30, but then again it can happen at 50, you know, like it has to me and many other women as well. We've been so trained to think, be in our heads, and in our heads there are so many voices going around. There are voices from all the teachers we've had, there are the voices from the parents, there are all our own different voices, and who do you listen to? Like, how do you find who you are and what really makes your heart? So a lot of what I do is actually help people really get in touch and into their bodies so that they can really feel a sense of themselves. If I use the word grounded, like, yes, to really be in your body and learn from our physical sensory being and our emotions. A lot of people they just focus on happiness. But what people don't realise is that every single emotion has a message for us. So, like, if you're frustrated, it's highly likely to mean you need to find another way. There's another course of action needed. If you've got fear, fear is about creating safety usually. And it's not that you'll never have, you know that saying, feel your fear and do it anyway. Well, for me, it's feel your fear and then give your fear the safety it needs so that then you can do whatever it is that you need to do. Because as long as you feel safe, you have the courage to do something. So, like traveling the world, you know, so we can, every single emotion we can learn from. So I help people really get into their bodies very deeply, learn to listen and really get in touch with their emotions, learn the messages, and then if someone is spiritual, and I am spiritual, and a lot of people that come to me are, I actually help people really connect with their own spiritual guidance. And it does, like, people can come to me, they can be Buddhist, or they can be religious, they can believe in God, or not believe in it, just a higher sense of their self. But there is something bigger than who we are, that if we can connect with that also is something that resonates in us, that can speak through us. And whether that's in images or emotions or synchronistic events, but to really get in touch with that. So I know the word authenticity is bandied around a lot, but it really is about really learning what is your truth, what is your authentic self, because we've learned so many charades. You know, we've pretended to be so many people. We've pretended to be whatever it is that society or our parents wanted us how to look, you know? Mm-hmm.
But also women spend so much time nurturing others, like yourself, like first their kids, their parents, they neglect their own, or not even neglect, but they just don't have time to actually focus on themselves. And when they do, it's actually nearly a guilt thing. You know, it's always like, oh, you know, I treated myself to, you know, a spa treatment, or I treated myself, or, you know, and they nearly feel guilty, or it has to be a special occasion where they do something for themselves, rather than, you know, doing something like they go out and spend $50 or €50 on a pair of shoes for kids, but they'd, you know, buy the cheapest pair for themselves, you know, when they actually like shoes. I mean, we're just using that as an example, you know. We do everything for everybody else, and we spend that time of our lives actually doing that. And I think what you're doing is actually then helping women to actually find themselves again and actually get over their fears of maybe lack of self-confidence or lack of confidence to actually do what they do. And they come away from you then actually feeling more themselves again and ready to take on the world.
Yeah, you said it, Rosie. That's right. Exactly. And it's true, because it is. It's learning how to give to ourselves. And it's learning how to love ourselves. And it sounds really weird, like love yourself. But when you really get in touch with who you are and you do learn to love yourself, it's like you can really get in touch with, like I can feel like just love beaming through me at times, just absolutely. And then I've got lots to share because I'm not needy. Like I can tap into my own sense of myself, so I can give more because I'm giving to myself. But if I'm just giving to everybody else, then I'm exhausted, then I get depleted, then I get resentful, then I get angry or whatever else. What is that about me? You know? So yeah, women really have to learn how to give to themselves. So yes, I do help women. That if they're in a relationship, they don't have to give everything up to get love or to be loving. It's not about just giving to everybody else. So spot on. It's spot on.
Okay. Well, Debbie, you are the perfect example to follow, and I'm going to be following all your travels and your excitement. And where are you? Are you going back to Australia now? Are you going to settle back there for a little while, or?
I am going back to Australia for Christmas, and then I'm not quite sure. In fact, one of my clients who's in Hawaii has invited me to her wedding next July. So I've been with her since she broke up from a relationship, hating being single, and then loving being single, and then through dating again, and then finding a man, and then going through that whole honeymoon period to then all of the seeing the reality and the tension and the conflict and working through all that, and now they're engaged. So who knows? It could be heading in that direction next year.
Okay, fabulous. Well, look, I'm going to follow you and we're going to put up the links to your website, and so that others can get in touch with you and follow your great example, and actually and learn from your wisdom and from your experiences. And I have a fabulous time in Cambodia. I'm really jealous. It looks stunning.
I'll just see. It is sunset, but I'll just see if you can see just a little of the sky is beautiful and silvery and grey at this time of night. So I'm not sure if that's too coming out clear enough, but yeah, it is. It's very relaxing. Very peaceful. Time stands still. Time is standing still.
Fabulous. Well, look, Debbie, thank you so much for talking to us again, and as I say, people can go over onto the website, lifeisshortmagazine.com, to get all your updates and to actually get the websites you mentioned, including the one that the NGO, the non-profit your son actually runs as well in Sierra.
Yeah.
All right. Oh,
thank you.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Talk again soon.
Yeah, thanks, Rosie. Bye.
Bye.